Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Andre and I'm your bookworm. And today we have another book review. We are starting a new trilogy and from a new author, which you'll get why I'm a bit hesitant on that. But this is a female author, which is the first one of the year. I know this shouldn't be a celebration of that because it's quite bad that a third of the year is almost done and this is the first female author. But anyways, the book we're talking about today is The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. For the ones that don't know what this book is, The Mask of Mirrors is the first one of a trilogy called Rook and Rose, written by M.A. Carrick. M.A. Carrick is a pseudonym for two authors. One of them is Marie Brennan, the author of A Natural History of Dragons, which is memoirs by Lady Trent. I've read those books. I think the whole series is nice. It's very, not cozy, but relaxing series to read. I think it's innovative and very cool for biology people, but I think aside from that, it's not amazing, extraordinary. It was a good series. I enjoyed it. So I was curious to read this book considering Marie Brennan. The other half of this pseudonym is Alec Helms, which is the author of The Adventures of Mr. Mystic. I haven't read this book, so can't talk too much about it. But regarding The Mask of Mirrors, this book was published in 2021, so fairly recent, 5 years. At the time of release, it got nominated for an ALA Alex Awards. It didn't win, but nominations are always good, so that's good for them. And as for the Goodreads details, this urban fantasy, political fantasy book has over 14,000 ratings on Goodreads, which is not bad, considering it's been out for 5 years. And the average score it has, it's a perfect 4 out of 5. Now, this is weird because it's the second book that has a perfect 4 out of 5 so recently. I don't know how. It's very coincidental that with this many ratings, it's able to pinpoint on the exact value of 4. What I was excited about reading this book is that I got this from the Broken Binding subscription, and that's why it's a hardback with a lot of details. You can check the short where I opened it here on the channel, but I was excited because normally I would not pick this book. It doesn't scream things that attract me for books, but I also think that is the good thing about the subscription, is exploring these new worlds that otherwise I would never pick, and just figuring out maybe it will be really good, maybe it won't. But before we get into that part, which is the review, let's just go through one of the housekeeping items, which is the synopsis. I'm going to narrate the synopsis to you. If you don't want to hear anything about it because you don't want to hear any spoilers, you can just skip to the next timestamp, which will be plot, our first category to analyze. Otherwise, you can stick around and hear me narrate it. Nightmares are creeping through the city of dreams. Renata Virdo is a con artist who has come to the sparkling city of Nadesra, the city of dreams, with one goal: to trick her way into a noble house and secure her fortune and her sister's future. But as she's drawn into the elite world of House Tormentis, she realizes her masquerade is just one of many surrounding her. And as corrupt magic begins to weave its way through Nadesra, the poisonous feuds of its aristocrats and the shadowy dangers of its impoverished underbelly become tangled, with Ren at their heart. Okay, with the synopsis out of the way, because it was also quite a short one, and since we don't have to look at scores of previous books, because this is the first one, I guess we can just skip and go directly into our first category, which is plot. Okay, so like I mentioned, this book is an urban fantasy, political fantasy type of story. We follow one main protagonist, one main POV, which is Renata. She is this con artist trying to con this noble family, except she kind of doesn't know that the family doesn't have any money. They're impoverished, they're bankrupt. And this is not spoilers, this is pretty much the premise of the book, the start of it. So this is good. I mean, it's promising. It's a plot that is not that used, or it's not a coming of age story type of thing. So I was interested starting in. I think the plot overall went ways I did not expect. This initial part, I thought it was going to be the whole story of the book, but it wasn't, which I think is a positive, because M.A. Carrick, I don't think, has the capacity, for me at least, to create a con or a heist for a whole book. Not at the same level as, for example, Scott Lynch with The Lies of Locke Lamora, which there is a full heist. The heist is the thing of the book, and we get surprises and twists all around. For this one, there were some surprises. Some of the twists were predictable, but at the same time, it was good that the plot turned into a different direction, and it wasn't incoherent with the rest of the story. You could see the plot go in that direction, and therefore you didn't have to expect the heist to be the main thing, and therefore be disappointed because there weren't that many surprises, or when things were revealed, there wasn't a big shock or a big boom, right? It was all quite subdued. But that's okay because we had the other plots going along to interest us. I wouldn't say all the other choices were amazing. I think the plot was consistent. It was okay for what it was. I think sometimes some of the choices were a bit predictable in the sense of where the plot was going or what decisions the characters were making to make the plot move forward. Then again, I don't think any of them really broke my keenness to read. So I don't think the plot was too bad. I don't think the plot was too good, but I think it is deserving of a 4 out of 5. Okay, now moving on to characters, we have Renata, who is our main protagonist, the con artist that is trying to fool everyone and gets enrolled in all these adventures and plot twists and surprises that she did not imagine. But then we also have a couple of side characters like her sister, her brother, and the Tremaine house. They are also quite relevant for the story, and therefore they also get some development. Going to Renata first, I think she was developed quite a bit considering that she is the main protagonist. She needed to be. However, I do think that she is suffering a bit from the same issue I saw in Marie Brennan's books of A Natural History of Dragons, which was the main protagonist seems to develop throughout the book, but in fact, when you look back, she kind of doesn't. It's a very superficial change, and it doesn't feel like it's a big change from within. It feels like, okay, she suffered these changes, she saw that there was some danger, and she changed her mind, and in the end, she got a couple more friends, but that was kind of it. And I might be mistaken. This might be real in the next books, and she might actually have a big development that looking from the third book to the first, you can see that big change. But I think for this book, it wasn't that big. There was some change, there was some development, but I actually need to see the next book to ensure that development cemented itself in her, or if it was just like, oh, she changed because it was appropriate for this plot, but now she's back to the same thing. And as for the secondary characters, I enjoyed them. I thought all of them had good quality. The sister was very important for the story, and I think it created a good relationship with Renata. And all of the other characters, really, they created good relationships with Renata. And when I say good, it doesn't mean a positive relationship. I just think that their relationships were good for the plot to move forward, and I think they were just done well. I'm not going to reveal a lot about these relationships because one of them is related to a big plot twist that happens in the book, but just know that the relationships are important for this book. So for this category, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Even though the main character, I'm still unsure a bit about her development, I think the side characters have quite good development and the relationships across are all very good, which deserves the 4. Now moving on to world building, which is our middle category. This world feels like a mixture between European, heavy Russian influence, maybe a bit gypsy influence as well. So there's this mixture, but it is a completely independent world. There are no relations to our own world, so that is good. It's completely independent. I prefer when it's like that, except there are some similarities here and there because there have to be. One of the things is one of the magic systems, which is related to tarot cards. I thought that was cool, especially because I'm also reading Lord of the Mysteries, which is also very related with tarot cards. But I think Lord of the Mysteries might have done it slightly better or more extensively. I've also read a lot more of Lord of the Mysteries than Mask of Mirrors. So it was a good magic system. There isn't much information revealed about that because I don't think the magic system will be the centerpiece of the story. It's more a detail, something that adds a bit of complexity to the story, and therefore there's not much to explore. One of the things I did not enjoy about this book was related to the world building, and it's more of a thing that I don't like authors doing, and that is the amount of names that they need to give to make the world feel like it's different. We know that when you're creating a world, some things will be different. For example, if you have an animal like a horse with 6 legs and you want to give it a different name, that's completely understandable. As long as you explain it, we will get on board with it. If they're eating some fruit that is alien, you can also give it a different name. But then there starts being there's a line where it becomes too much, and in this book I think we crossed that because at some point I realized that even left and right had different names. One was sun-sided, the other one was earth-sided or something like that. And for me, there is no necessity to add that level of complexity to a story because left and right are left and right everywhere you go. And you can't just say left and right. And besides, for me, it doesn't make much sense to be named like that because left and right existed before this world figure out which way the sun is going, which way the earth is going, right? No matter how the technology advanced, they will always have to figure out left and right first. So it doesn't really make much sense for me to think that one is turning one way, so it's called sun-sided, and the other one is turning the other way, so it's called earth-sided. Anyways, this is just me ranting about it. I didn't like that detail, but aside from that, I think the world building was done well. It was done coherently, and I can't really criticize it too much because on the things that were explored, like culture, like the magic system, and just exploring the world, it felt okay. It felt very decent. And because of that, I'm actually giving it this category a 4 out of 5. And despite me ranting for quite a while about the left and right thing, I don't think that is enough to make me drag the category down. One of the things I need to say is I hope the magic systems are developed further in the next books because I do feel they were just very superficial. Same thing with the rest of the world because we were mainly in one city. That city felt okay. It wasn't super explored like The City and the City, or I mean Perdido Street Station by China Nievel, or by Terry Pratchett with the Discworld and Ankh-Morpork, those type of cities. It's not like that, but it was fun. I want more in the next book. So that is just my advice in regards to world building. Our last technical category is writing style. And what do I think of Annie Carrick's writing style? Well, first of all, I think, and this is my opinion, it might be completely wrong, but I think I saw quite a bit of Marie Brennan's writing in this book, mostly regarding the characters and how they dealt with each other and with the world. So if you like Marie Brennan's writing, I think you will like this book. Then again, this is just my opinion. She might not have written almost anything about the book, might have been the other author, I don't know. But aside from that, I think the prose is quite simple, the characters are simple, the action is direct, there's some bursts of actions here and there, and I think the action always has some different emotion attached to it. Might just be that action, that rage of fighting, might be a bit of tension, might be a bit of suspense or thriller, because some parts of the action are quite mysterious. And I like that. I think it's a good way to ensure that the author doesn't get tired of the same action. Because let's admit it, the action, some of those action sequences seemed quite similar. If you basically took away the details, they would be mostly the same. But because they have different emotions attached to them, they are different in a way. So I enjoy that. I think that was very smart from the authors to do. And regarding pacing, that was the only part where I think it didn't have varying levels. The degrees of valleys and peaks was a bit soft, meaning that maybe they were like this instead of being like this. And that's okay. Some authors might like, some readers might like that. To me, sometimes it felt a bit boring in the sense that the characters were going along, but there wasn't anything really very striking or that made me like want to grab the book and read more, because that's kind of what pacing wants you to do. There was a big plot twist at, I would say, a third more or less, or halfway, but after that it kind of slowed down quite a bit, and the ending wasn't the most spectacular ever. For me, it was a bit disappointing because of the villain of the story, but that is just more personal rather than technical from the authors. So for this category, I'm also giving a 4 out of 5. And finally, our last category is enjoyment, which is the most subjective category of them all. And I enjoy this book more or less. I was a bit hesitant going in, not gonna lie, because again, this is not the type of book I would choose normally. I was reading it because I want to experience new things and try to read beyond my sphere. And looking at this, I was like, not sure if that's gonna be the best, but I still tried it. My enjoyment might have been maybe on a 3-4 when I started it, but as I was reading it, I was enjoying it kinda. There were parts that might have been a bit boring or that I was slowing down, but I don't think at the same time there was one time where I was like, nah, I don't want to read that. I'm going to read something else because I just need a break from this story. I always kept reading and never with dread. Some parts were like, meh. But aside from that, I think it was pretty okay. But like I said, it created a lot of expectations for the next book, because if it maintains it like that, I think it will decrease quite a bit. But if the authors work on these details that I mentioned, then it has potential to increase a lot. For now, this category, I'm going to give it a 3+ out of 5. It's not enough for me to get that 4 because my enjoyment it never really peaked a lot. So that's going to be it. And that is it for our review. Just as a refresher, we have 4 for plot, characters, world building, writing style, and then a 3+ for enjoyment. That gives us a final score of 3.8 out of 5, or 3.9 if you want to give that plus. But basically this means that we're pretty close to the Goodreads score, a bit lower, maybe because this might not be the target audience for this book, but I can still say it has some good things about it. I think world building might not be the category that is focusing on, but more the characters and a bit of the plot. Now, I really want this book to improve upon itself in the next book, which is The Labyrinth, not Labyrinth, something like that. But I kind of want to see if the authors develop the magic system, develop the world a bit more, so that it creates a better feeling for the rest of the story. I probably won't read it right away, but I will read it eventually because I'm still curious in some way to see where this story goes. But now I think it is your turn to tell me, what do you think about this book? Have you read it? Have you not? Comment down below. And if you're new, don't forget, subscribe, like the content, do all of those things. And you shall see me on Thursdays and Sundays. Okay? See you soon.